The people who bought these new cars paid $60,000 or $70,000. Then they dumped them when the warranty ended. That is your opening, because the right ones are bulletproof, undervalued, and today they cost less than a used economy car. Stay to the end, because number 1 is the smartest luxury buy of all. Number 10, Volvo S80, 2007 to 2010. 3.2 inline-six. Old Volvos scare bargain hunters, and that fear is exactly why the S80 can become a silent, comfortable, undervalued highway sedan for a patient buyer. The first owner bought safety, leather, quiet doors, and a European image. Then the dashboard aged, the warranty disappeared, dealer prices sounded costly, and the wealthy owner moved on like the car was finished. That is the discount source. The right version is not finished at all. I would target the naturally aspirated 3.2 inline-six, not the turbo version, not the V8, and not a loaded car with every option already failing. The 3.2 is smoother, simpler, and better suited for long ownership when oil changes, cooling health, and transmission service are required. Speed automatic needs clean fluid and smooth behavior, because a cheap European sedan with a tired transmission is not a bargain. What the public misses is the difference between badge fear and mechanical reality. People say old Volvo and imagine expensive misery. Mechanics ask a better question. Which engine? Which drivetrain? Which service history? And how many electrical features still work? A clean front-wheel drive 3.2 sedan is a very different machine from a neglected luxury toy with warning lights. Current used prices usually sit around $3,000 to $8,000 for driver quality examples, with very clean, low-mile cars higher. That means you can buy a sedan that once competed on comfort and safety for the price of a rough compact. But you inspect like an adult. Check warm transmission shifts, PCV behavior, oil leaks, coolant leaks, suspension wear, strut noise, tires, brakes, seat motors, windows, locks, climate control, and every warning light. If the dash glows like a Christmas tree, walk away. If the suspension knocks and the owner says it is just old, price it now. The mileage argument is simple. Long highway miles are what these cars were built to do, and a cared-for 3.2 can keep doing them when the maintenance is not ignored. Choose this one when you want silent highway comfort, strong safety feel, and a cheap European sedan without chasing German status. One small shop lesson matters here. A Volvo that was maintained by one careful owner feels completely different from a cheap one passed around after the first warning light. Look for the boring folder. Look for clean tires, steady temperature, and a seller who knows when the transmission fluid was changed. That calm story is worth more than shiny paint. The Volvo is the quiet Euro discount, but number 9 is the modern luxury sedan nobody respects because the badge is not German or Lexus. If this kind of luxury car truth helps, subscribe. We separate reliable bargains from costly badge traps before you spend real money. Number 9. Hyundai Genesis, 2009 to 2011, 3.8 V6. Most luxury buyers ignored the Genesis badge, and that is exactly why the used value, comfort, and discount are sitting there. The original owner wanted a smooth rear-wheel drive sedan without paying BMW or Lexus money. Then he discovered the driveway badge did not impress the country club, resale dropped, and the car became another forgotten luxury experiment. That is your opening. The 3.8-liter Lambda V6 and 6 speed automatic are the early setup I would shop first. No turbo, no complex air suspension, no German electrical maze. No need to pretend every repair requires a specialist. It is still a luxury sedan, so you inspect electronics, suspension, and interior features, but the drivetrain is not exotic. The public missed this because they judged the badge before they judged the layout. Mechanics saw rear-wheel drive balance, a proven naturally aspirated V6, normal service parts, and a cabin that felt better than the price suggested. Current used prices usually run from $5,000 to $9,500 for clean 3.8 sedans, with low mileage examples higher. Compare that with what the first owner paid, and you see the whole story. Rich buyers paid for the depreciation. You are paying for the remaining life. The 300,000-mile case depends on boring maintenance, oil changes, coolant service, clean air filters, transmission fluid history, and no overheating. I would rather buy a plain 3.8 with records than a loaded, neglected one with shiny wheels and a story. Inspect warm transmission shifts, suspension bushings, tire wear, oil leaks, cooling system condition, seat motors, mirrors, windows, climate controls, and dashboard electronics. Listen for clunks in the rear, because rear-wheel drive luxury sedans can hide bushing wear until the test drive gets rough. Also, check tire brands. Mismatched cheap rubber tells me the car may have been kept on the edge of neglect. Choose this one when you want a modern-feeling luxury sedan under 10 grand and you do not care whether the badge impresses anyone. A good Genesis also gives you one thing many cheap luxury cars lose: a cabin that still feels expensive without being fragile. That matters on long miles. If the steering is straight, the seats work, the cooling stays stable, and the engine pulls clean, you are buying leftover luxury, not leftover trouble. The Genesis is not a status buy. It is a used luxury math buy. The rich absorbed the damage, and the smart buyer gets the miles. The Genesis is the badge discount sleeper, but number 8 is the German sedan that can work if you buy the simple engine. Number 8. Mercedes-Benz E320 2000 to 2002. A cheap Mercedes can become a disaster fast, but the older E320 is one of the few German luxury sedans I would not dismiss immediately. The original owner paid serious money for the three-pointed star, the quiet cabin, the prestige, and that heavy door feel. Then the car looked dated, dealer service started feeling costly, rust fear grew, and the wealthy owner threw it away for a newer badge. That is why prices collapsed. The reason this one earns a spot is the M112 3.2-liter V6 and the 722.65 speed automatic. It is one of the few cheap German luxury setups I would discuss without immediately warning everyone to run. That engine is naturally aspirated, smooth, and known for long life when oil leaks, cooling health, and service are handled. The transmission can also go the distance when fluid history is not ignored. The public hears old Mercedes and thinks bankruptcy. Mechanics separate the sturdy engine cars from the fragile fantasy buys. A simple E320 with records is not the same thing as a neglected AMG dream with warning lights, air suspension drama, and no receipts. Current prices usually run from $3,000 to $8,000, with rust-free, well-kept examples bringing more than rough ones deserve. The 300,000-mile argument is not based on magic. It is based on a durable engine, a proven automatic, and a car that was built to sit at 70 miles per hour all day in comfort. But rust can ruin the whole case. Inspect spring perches, floors, rockers, wheel arches, lower doors, brake lines, and underneath before falling in love with the star on the hood. Then check oil leaks, coolant condition, radiator age, transmission shifts, engine mounts, tires, brakes, and every window, lock, seat, mirror, and climate function. A Mercedes with broken small features can bleed you slowly. A Mercedes with rust can take you down quickly. Choose this one when you want a real German luxury sedan and you are disciplined enough to buy condition, not badge fantasy. The trick is knowing when to be cold. If the car has rust, dead accessories, and no service history, the star on the hood should mean nothing. If it is clean, documented, and boring, it can be a shocking value for highway comfort. I would take a boring, rust-free, well-serviced E320 over a shiny, cheap one with mystery lights every time. One more thing on the Mercedes. Buy the least dramatic car you can find. Plain wheels, factory ride height, working heat, working air, and a quiet idle matter more than a glossy detail. German luxury rewards the boring buyer, not the dreamer. The Mercedes is the German exception, but number 7 brings the bulletproof V6 story back to Japan. Number 7. Acura TL, 2007 to 2008, 3.2 base model. A clean TL is not cheap because it is weak. It is cheap because people forgot how good, reliable, and sharp the simple ones were. The first buyer got leather, navigation, Acura comfort, and styling that looked strong for its time. Then the tech aged, the model changed, and luxury shoppers moved to newer badges. The car dropped into normal used sedan money, which is where the opportunity starts. I would focus on the late third-generation base TL with the 3.2-liter J-Series V6. It is naturally aspirated, smooth, and well known by Honda and Acura shops. The 5-speed automatic must shift cleanly, so this is not a blind buy. Earlier, Acura's automatic fear makes many shoppers nervous, and that fear keeps prices lower. Mechanics look closer. A clean, late base TL with records is a different car from a neglected, modified, overheated, or abused example. Current used prices usually sit around $5,000 to $10,000, with clean, lower-mile cars near the top. The rich offloaded these because old luxury tech does not feel rich anymore. The smart buyer cares less about the screen and more about the timing belt, water pump, transmission behavior, power steering leaks, engine mounts, suspension, and tires. The 300,000-mile case depends on maintenance. The J-Series engine can do serious miles when oil changes are real. The timing belt is documented, cooling is healthy, and the transmission is treated with respect. Inspect the timing belt and water pump history first. Then, test warm shifts, check power steering leaks, listen for mount clunks, inspect cracked dashboards, tire wear, suspension noise, brake feel, and all cabin electronics. Avoid rough cars with loud exhaust, cheap wheels, bad tint, and owners who talk about speed more than service. A stock TL with receipts can still feel confident, comfortable, and quick enough without becoming a costly project. Choose this one when you want reliable V6 luxury, Honda family service knowledge, and a sedan that still feels sharp. I would also watch the owner type closely. The TL can attract careful adults and young drivers with heavy feet. The car tells you which one owned it. Stock wheels, clean fluids, and normal exhaust are good signs. Cheap mods, harsh shifts, and worn front tires are warning signs. It is one of those cars that makes sense after the test drive, because the seat, steering, and engine all feel better than the price. The Acura is also a good comparison against a newer Accord. A newer Accord may have better tech, but a clean TL can give you leather, power, and a stronger cabin for similar money. The trick is avoiding the abuser. The Acura is the clean V6 pick, but number 6 adds rear-wheel drive luxury and a stronger sport sedan feel. Number 6. Infiniti M35, 2006 to 2010. Some luxury sedans get forgotten before the drivetrain is finished, and the Infiniti M35 is exactly that kind of strong, sporty, underpriced machine. Original owners bought it against BMW, Lexus, and Mercedes, then watched Infiniti resale fall faster than the car deserved. Once the shape aged and newer models arrived, wealthy buyers moved on. That depreciation is the discount source. The version I would shop for is the V6 car, not the V8, because the VQ35 gives you the best balance of power, support, and ownership cost. The VQ engine family has a long service record across Nissan and Infiniti products. It likes clean oil, healthy cooling, clean intake parts, and owners who do not ignore leaks. The 5-speed automatic is conventional and familiar, but it still needs smooth warm shifts and no harsh engagement. The public sees the old Infiniti and worries about premium fuel, electronics, and parts. Mechanics see a known VQ platform with a strong engine if it was not abused. Current used prices usually run from $4,500 to $9,000, with clean sport trims or low-mile cars higher. The 300,000-mile argument depends on buying the right owner story. These cars can run a long time, but they do not forgive low oil, cooked cooling systems, or boy racer abuse. Inspect oil level, oil consumption history, valve cover leaks, timing chain noise, cooling condition, transmission shifts, rear differential noise, suspension bushings, seat controls, navigation, climate controls, tire wear and brake shake. Listen closely on a cold start and after a long, warm drive. A quiet VQ with clean fluids feels honest. A rattly one with cheap tires and warning lights is a warning. Choose this one when you want sporty luxury, proven V6 power, and more personality than a soft highway cruiser. The M also gives a nice price comparison. A similar age German sport sedan may feel tempting, but one electrical fault or cooling repair can erase the deal. The Infiniti is not free, but the repair path is usually more familiar for a shop that knows Nissan products. Compared with a used German sport sedan, the M35 usually gives you more reliability margin for less money if you avoid the neglected examples. I like it for the buyer who wants a real engine, real comfort, and rear-wheel drive feel, without pretending he can ignore maintenance. If you like a firm seat, real steering weight, and a sedan that still feels alive, this one scratches that itch without German repair fear. Just do not mistake sporty for bulletproof. Maintenance still decides everything. The Infiniti gives you sport luxury, but number 5 is the Toyota-based comfort car that rich owners dumped too early. Number 5. Lexus ES 330, 2004 to 2006. Soft luxury gets mocked by people who want excitement, but the Lexus ES 330 is exactly the kind of safe, quiet, low-drama sedan that smart buyers should respect. The original owner bought quiet Lexus comfort, soft leather, and Toyota confidence with a nicer badge. Then the cabin looked old, the screen felt dated, and luxury buyers chased newer designs. That leaves the older ES sitting cheaply, not because the basic car is weak, but because wealthy owners get bored quickly. The 3.3-liter V6 is smooth, under-stressed, and known by Toyota shops. The automatic is conventional, the suspension is normal, and the car avoids turbochargers. air suspension, and German-level repair complexity. That is why it can run toward 300,000 miles when timing belt service. Oil changes, coolant, mounts, leaks, and transmission care are handled. The public hears cheap luxury and imagines expensive trouble. Mechanics see a Camry family service pattern wrapped in better materials and quieter insulation. Current use prices usually sit around $4,500 to $9,000 for clean drivers, with low-mileage garage cars higher. This is not the luxury sedan for a guy who wants attention. It is for the guy who wants a silent commute, easy parts access, and a cabin that does not beat him up after 200 miles. Inspect timing belt and water pump records, valve cover leaks, engine mounts, warm transmission shifts, suspension wear, tires, brakes, air conditioning, windows, seat motors, and power accessories. Check for oil sludge history by looking at records and oil condition, because neglect can still ruin a Toyota family engine. Choose this one when you want quiet comfort, Toyota family durability, and cheap luxury without trying to look rich. This is the luxury sedan I would send to someone who does not want to learn a new repair language. Most shops understand the service pattern, parts are not exotic, and the car rewards boring ownership. That is the kind of comfort that does not scare me. The ES is also a good reminder that not every bargain needs to feel rare. Sometimes the best used buy is the car everyone thinks is too boring to brag about. Boring is exactly why these survive. I have seen these cars with worn leather, faded paint, and 200,000 miles still starting like they have somewhere to be. That is the kind of boring proof I trust more than any sales pitch. The ES is the soft Toyota-based choice, but number 4 is the American land yacht that parts stores still understand. Subscribe if you want the rich person depreciation without the rich person repair mistake. We name the engines, trims, and checks that matter. Number 4. Lincoln Town Car 2003 to 2011. Rich people moved on from town cars, but airport drivers, livery shops, and mechanics never forgot why these big sedans lasted. The town car became unfashionable because wealthy buyers wanted SUVs, German badges, bigger screens, and newer status. The big Lincoln turned into an old man car, and that crushed prices. Good. That is the buyer opening. The 4.6-liter modular V8 and 4-speed automatic are the story here. Simple, understressed, familiar, and supported by a parts network that still feels common. This platform lived in airport duty, town car service, private fleets, and family highway use. That is real mileage proof, not brochure talk. The public saw outdated styling and thirsty fuel use. Mechanics saw body-on-frame construction, cheap American parts, room to work, and a drivetrain that rarely surprises them. Current used prices usually run from $4,000 to $10,000, with rough fleet cars cheaper and clean signature or Cartier examples near the top. The 300,000-mile case is strongest when the car has not been abused, overheated, rusted, or ignored. These cars can do huge highway miles because the V8 barely works at cruising speed. The automatic is familiar, and most repairs are known before the hood is opened. Inspect frame rust, rockers, brake lines, intake leaks, front suspension, rear axle noise, warm transmission shifts, air suspension condition, or coil conversion quality. Also check power windows, seat motors, climate control, trunk pull down if equipped, and tire wear. A town car with sagging rear suspension, rusty lines, and dead accessories can still run, but it may not be a smart buy. Choose this one when you want plush comfort, cheap American parts, and a highway sedan that feels built for longer miles. Do not ignore the tires and brakes, because big cars still need big car maintenance. But compared with many imported luxury sedans, the Lincoln feels honest, because the parts counter already knows it. A decent mechanic can quote repairs without acting like he is solving a puzzle. It is not fuel-sipping, but it gives you full-size comfort for compact car money. That trade makes sense if your miles are mostly highway, and you value silence over style. If you mostly do city driving, think carefully because gallons matter. But for long, steady miles, the town car feels built for the job. The rich left it behind because the image changed, not because the basic car forgot how to work. The Lincoln is the land yacht, but number 3 is the Lexus mechanics, Quietly keep because the engine has legendary blood. Number 3. Lexus GS 300 1998 to 2005. An old Lexus sports sedan can look like dated luxury to the public, but mechanics hear GS 300 and immediately think about that proven, durable inline-six bloodline. Wealthy owners bought it for Lexus quality and rear-wheel drive feel, then dumped it when newer GS models and German rivals looked fresher. It aged into the used market without the super hype attached, which is the whole gift. The naturally aspirated 2DGE inline-six is the reason this car belongs here. It is smooth, long-lived, and much better as a daily driver than as internet folklore. Keep oil clean, cooling healthy, and timing belt service current, and the engine can take serious miles. The public saw old Lexus fuel cost and dated luxury. Mechanics saw Toyota service logic, a respected inline-six, strong automatic behavior when maintained, and a chassis that aged better than many cheap luxury sedans. Current used prices usually run from $5,000 to $10,000 for solid drivers, with clean, low-mile or enthusiast examples higher. The risk is not the engine. The risk is owner behavior. These cars attracted some buyers who wanted stance, drift style, loud exhausts, cheap wheels, and an image without maintenance. Avoid slammed, drifted, neglected, or poorly modified examples. Inspect timing belt and water pump proof, valve cover leaks, power steering leaks, suspension bushings, lower ball joints, tire wear, brake feel, cooling condition, electronics, and accident repairs. A stock GS with records is a different animal from a rough one with cut springs and excuses. Choose this one when you want Lexus build quality, rear-wheel drive, and a legendary inline-six without sports car pricing. The key is resisting the abuser. This car has enough style that some owners ruined it chasing attention. Mechanics know the clean stock sedan is the prize. The lower it sits, the louder it is, and the cheaper the wheels look, the more careful I get. I like this pick because it gives you luxury with a real mechanical center. It does not rely on gadgets to feel special. The engine, ride, and build quality do the work. That is why mechanics keep paying attention. The GS gives you the famous engine, but number 2 gives you Acura flagship comfort at a price nobody respects. Number 2. Acura RL 2005 to 2008. The Acura RL is the flagship nobody bragged about, and that lack of bragging is exactly why the discount is so strong, quiet, and useful. The original buyer paid serious money for Acura's top sedan, then watched the market ignore it. It lacked rear-wheel drive prestige, German badge pull, and Lexus resale strength. That killed values, but it did not erase the engineering. The 3.5-liter J-Series V6 is the core reason I would look at one. It is naturally aspirated, known by Honda and Acura shops, and smooth when maintained. The 5-speed automatic and SHE system needs fluid service, so neglect is the real enemy. People dismissed the RL as too plain for a flagship. Mechanics saw a high-quality Honda family sedan with solid build, comfortable seats, all-weather confidence, and a drivetrain that rewards maintenance. Current used prices usually run from $5,000 to $9,500, with clean, low-mile examples near or above $10,000. That is a huge drop from flagship money. The 300,000-mile case depends on records. Timing belt and water pump service need proof. Transmission fluid and e-service need proof. Rear differential behavior should feel smooth, not binding or noisy. Inspect power steering leaks, suspension arms, tires, brakes, electronics, seat motors, navigation, climate controls, and all-wheel drive warning lights. A cheap RL with no fluid history can become expensive. A documented one can be an undervalued highway sedan that feels far better than the price. Choose this one when you want undervalued Japanese luxury, all-weather confidence, and Honda family mechanical trust. The RL is also good for the buyer who wants winter confidence without climbing into an SUV. That matters if you like a sedan, but live where roads get ugly. Just remember, all-wheel drive helps traction, not neglect. Tires, fluids, and records still decide whether the deal is smart. I would also check tire age carefully, because all-wheel drive luxury sedans can hide expensive neglect under shiny paint. I like the RL for a buyer who wants quality, but does not need strangers to recognize the badge. That is where the deal lives. The public wants prestige. The smart buyer wants records, condition, and a drivetrain that a good shop understands. What I like most is how little attention it gets. Nobody fights you for one at every listing. and that gives a careful buyer time to inspect instead of panic buying the badge. The RL is the forgotten flagship. The number one is the sedan I would check first if my own money were on the table. Number 1. Lexus LS 400, 1998 to 2000. The LS 400 is what happens when luxury engineering ages better than luxury image, and that is why this one earns the top spot. The original owner paid serious flagship money, then moved on when the car looked old, and newer luxury sedans offered bigger screens, more horsepower, and fresher styling. The market punished it for age, not weakness. That is the opening. The 4.0-liter 1UZF-E V8 is the whole argument. It is naturally aspirated, smooth, overbuilt, and famous for long service life. The 5-speed automatic in these later LS 400 years is also strong when serviced. That pairing is why so many mechanics still talk about these cars with respect after the luxury crowd stopped caring. This is not cheap luxury because it was built cheaply. It is cheap because rich buyers got bored and the market forgot how expensive the engineering was. The public sees an old Lexus. Mechanics see one of Toyota's best flagship drivetrains, a cabin built to last, and a sedan that can still feel silent when maintained. Current used prices usually run from $5,000 to $10,000 for good drivers, with rough cars cheaper and pristine, low-mile examples higher. The 300,000-mile case is real when the car has a timing belt proof, clean oil, healthy cooling, good suspension, and no major neglect. Inspect timing belt and water pump history, power steering leaks, valve cover leaks, suspension arms, tires, brakes, cooling system, transmission shifts, and every electrical feature. Avoid neglected air suspension if equipped unless the price reflects repair risk. Also, check the leather condition, seat motors, climate control, windows, steering feel, and underbody rust. Choose this one when you want the smartest overall luxury sedan under 10 grand, and you care more about reliable engineering than newer styling. I would not buy one because it is cheap. I would buy one because it was expensive for the right reasons. Thick glass, quiet insulation, smooth switches, strong drivetrain parts, and careful assembly all show up years later. That is the difference between old luxury and cheap old luxury. It earns number 1 because it combines huge depreciation, real flagship build quality, a naturally aspirated V8, Toyota service logic, and long mile proof. A good one feels calm, heavy, silent, and expensive in the right way. That is rare at this price. If my own money were on the table, I would rather buy a maintained LS 400 than a newer luxury sedan with turbo heat, mystery electronics, and a dealer-only personality. The LS gives you the richest version of this whole video. They paid the fortune, you buy the lifespan. But even here, stay disciplined. A neglected flagship is still a neglected flagship. The right LS should feel composed, not tired. If it wanders, smells hot, shifts harshly, or has dead accessories everywhere, that is not luxury. That is somebody else's bill. If this saves you from one costly luxury mistake, subscribe. We show the drivetrain truth before the badge drains your wallet. Buyer cheat sheet. The badge gets your attention, but the drivetrain decides whether you keep your money. Volvo S80 3.2 is the quiet European discount. Best when you avoid turbo and V8 complexity. Hyundai Genesis 3.8 is the modern badge discount pick. Best when you want a rear-wheel drive luxury cheap. Mercedes E320 is the surprise German pick. Best only when rust and electronics check out. Acura TL 3.2 is the bulletproof V6 sedan. Best when the timing belt and transmission history are clean. Infiniti M35 is the sporty luxury pick. Best when oil use and suspension condition are checked. Lexus ES 330 is the soft Toyota family comfort pick. Best when you want low-drama ownership. Lincoln Town Car is the land yacht. Best when you want cheap parts and highway comfort. Lexus GS 300 is the inline-6 mechanic pick. Best when stock and maintained. Acura RL is the underrated flagship. Best when service history is real. Lexus LS 400 is the smartest overall buy. Best when timing belt proof and suspension condition are clean. Main rule: do not buy cheap luxury just because the price looks exciting. Buy the engine, records, condition, and version. Luxury depreciation creates the opportunity, but neglect creates the bill. A $10,000 luxury sedan can be a steal, or it can be a payment-free disaster with leather seats. The difference is inspection. Check timing, belt records where needed, cooling health, transmission behavior, suspension wear, leaks, tire quality, warning lights, electronics, and rust. Drive the car until fully warm. Test every button. Listen for clunks. Smell for coolant. Look under the car. If the seller says it only needs a sensor, make him prove it. If the fluids are dark, the tires are mismatched, and the story changes twice, walk away. The rich threw these cars away because they wanted a newer image. That does not mean you should buy their neglect. Buy their depreciation, not their problems. A well-kept old luxury sedan can give you comfort, silence, and long life for economy car money. A neglected one can empty your wallet before the first oil change. The smart buyer looks past the badge and asks the simple questions. Which engine? Which transmission? Which service records? Which weak points? And what does it need today? Also, compare every car to a plain used sedan before you get emotional. If a luxury car needs tires, suspension, timing belt work, brakes, and electronics on day one, the discount might be fake. If it only needs normal service and has a clean story, then the rich owner has already paid the painful part. That is the whole angle. We are not buying status. We are buying leftover engineering after depreciation did the dirty work. I would rather own a clean, documented 10-year-old flagship than a newer luxury sedan with unknown turbo repairs and a seller hiding behind fresh wax. The older car may look dated, but dated is not the same as weak. Weaknesses are overheating, slipping, leaking, clunking, and missing records. Keep that straight. If the car passes the boring checks, the bargain can be real. If it fails them, the badge will not save you. That is how you win this game. Have you owned one of these luxury sedans? Tell us which one treated you well, because real owner stories are often more useful than dealer talk. From somebody trying to move inventory before the next careful buyer asks sharper questions today on a noisy used car lot anyway. Click the next video before these cheap luxury sedans disappear. Subscribe for reliable engines, cheaper repairs, and the buying checks rich owners ignored.